Monday's got 12 games, so let's take a look at them. Who are we interested in? What are we watching for? What are the important things to take away? Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I just got finished setting up a Melon bar. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Super Bowl 59 is almost here, and there is no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to fanduel.com to get started. Also, check out lockedondaily.com and you will find the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. It's lockedondaily.com. You go up, you sign up actually. Free emails 5 days a week in your inbox. It is National Bubble Wrap Day on Monday, and that is what we're here to celebrate. We're going to pop away at all 12 of these games. We're going to talk about what needs to be spoken about, I believe. Let's get into them. It's not really a streaming day. And I know someone's going to ask this, where are the streams of the day? Not doing a stream of the day with 12 games on. It's just one of those things where it's so hard to, most of you it won't apply to. You'll just be sort of rolling your thing out. I will be giving a streaming option from each game, so just have a look if that makes sense. But it's more about forward planning and just paying attention to what goes on during a game and how that can then snowball into something else in other days during the week. So the first game, we go LA. The Lakers, they're going to Charlotte. It's a standard 7 p.m. start time here for this Hornets-Lakers game. The Lakers are 6-point favorites. It's a Schedule Plus spot for the Lakers, so be aware of that. Christian Wood is out. Jalen Hood-Schifino is out. Rui Hachimura missed the last game. I'll put him questionable here. I don't have an update on that. And I'm expecting that Anthony Davis and LeBron are going to be probable, as they are every game. Trey Mann is out for the Hornets, and we did get an update that Cody Martin is out again. Mark Williams, I'm expecting to play. He sat the last game on a back-to-back after they left him off the injury report to begin with, but he is ready to go, and he'll be available and ready to play. On the Lakers side of things, I do want to watch Rui Hachimura, not because I want to watch him play, but what do they do? Because last game, Dorian Finney-Smith started. It was fine. I'm pretty sure, unless this is your first time. If so, hello, welcome. Good to see you guys. You know what I think of Rui Hachimura as a player. He is totally mid as a replacement rotation level player. And could they stick with Dorian Finney-Smith there? Yeah, it's possible. So I want to see what this does for Rui, and hopefully this is it a trigger for you guys to drop him? I hope so. We'll see exactly what goes on with that and the replacement of him in the lineup, whether that is something that happens or not. And on the Hornets, Josh Okogie's been getting some defensive numbers. And with Cody Martin out again, there is probably a role here for Okogie. And that means in deeper leagues, you've got to at least pay a little bit of attention because Cody Martin, not a particularly healthy long-term player. Max Strus remains the stream for the Lakers. He is nothing more than a streamer, but they are in a Schedule Plus position. And that gives him a little bit of a boost. And then on the Hornets, I just think Nick Smith should be rostered. So roster him. He is available everywhere. I think he's only 15% on Yahoo. Everyone dropped him after the last game. Not everybody, but some people did. And I think that's wrong. Detroit, Cleveland, Central Division rivals. The Cavs are 10-point favorites. It's a Schedule minus spot for Detroit, so be aware of that. Tobias Harris is officially questionable. I put him on the doubtful side of questionable because there was a risk that he had a concussion, but they've called it a post-traumatic headache, which apparently is the new thing now to call a head injury that they don't want to call a concussion. By the way, the Lakers' injury statuses are officially updated, and Davis and LeBron are both probable, and Gabe Vincent popped up as questionable. That's interesting. But Toby Harris is officially questionable in this game. And then for the Cavs, LeVert is out again. Okoro is out again. And Dean Wade is out again. So LeVert's been questionable 5 games in a row. And now he's just ruled out again. That's not great for that wrist. We're obviously not holding him. So what we want to watch here. Number 1, Asar Thompson. 30 minutes last game. That was great. So what that suggests to me about Asar is that it's not a conditioning thing. It's not anything like that. The fact that he's playing 23, 24 a night. It's that they don't want him to play more than that. Because Tobias Harris is in that position. So what happens now for Asar? If he's a 26-minute player, then I'm more interested in using him. So if you want to grab him and see where it goes, go for it. But it's not, if Harris plays, what happens to Asar's minutes? We need to see that. And then on the Cavs, Max Strus played a lot of minutes last game. And with no Okoro, with no, not Strus, Levert, and no Wade, he has an opportunity to do it again. I don't think that he's absolutely a must-roster guy. The Cavs are in an okay scheduling position, especially towards the end of the week. Strus is a back-end guy at best. On the stream options, Leaky Beasley is always going to be that Pistons guy. And then the guy that's absolutely cooking at the moment, most of the time, is Ty Jerome. I do not believe that Ty Jerome is a 12-team league must-roster player. He's a streamable guy, but then it relies upon some outsized shooting numbers to get there and to feel like he's going to do the right thing. The next game is the Orlando Magic and the Miami Heat. In Miami, Battle of Florida, it's a schedule minus spot for Miami. Who's in, who's out? Gaz Harris is out for Orlando. Jalen Suggs, who came back last game and then left with knee soreness. Bro just cannot get it right. And Goga Bitadze are both officially questionable. I would expect that Goga's ready to go. This is a long time for this concussion injury that he's had. Hopefully he's okay here. And that is going to be really key to watch how they use those guys. And then on Miami, obviously, we're watching, like, Josh Richardson's out, so that's huge. It's not. Jimmy Butler is back. Now, Jimmy Butler is not suspended. He's not on the injury report. I assume that he starts. And what does he do? Play 32 minutes or 28 minutes or does something else to get suspended in the interim? I don't know. I got no idea. On the Magic side of things, we do want to see the Wendell Carter and Goga Bitadze situation. Carter, in 32 minutes, is barely a 12-team league guy. In anything less than that, he's not close. But how do they use it? Because if Goga plays 21 minutes, I'm not sure he's a 12-team league player. But if he plays 26 and Carter plays 22, or they cross over at all, well, that makes it more interesting. So we need to see that. And then on the Heat, last game, we only got 23 minutes from Superman Khalil Ware. There'd been a couple of interesting sort of signs with him getting minutes in garbage time or getting pulled out of those double big lineups early. He did start the last game that Butler played, so that's not a Butler thing necessarily. He started that game, but what if Spo just decides to reverse course and chuck him back into an 18-minute bench role? That would be terrible. So we would need to watch it. KCP is a good stream there for the Magic, but with Franz and Paolo back, even if Suggs is out, your Mr. Black or Cole Anthony streams aren't as useful. And then I think Nikola Jovic just should be rostered ahead of Jaime Jaquez, ahead of Hayward Highsmith, ahead of Terry Rozier, ahead of Duncan Robinson, but he's still available. So have a look if Jovic is there. He's an interesting guy to have a look at. The next game is the Grizzlies and the New York Knickerbockers. We are in New York for this one. The Knicks are 4-point favorites. It's a schedule minus spot for both teams. Not that the Knicks are full of streaming options for us. In terms of who's in, who's out, Marcus Smart is out. Vince Williams is out. Jake LaRavia and Santi Aldama are both listed as questionable. Mitchell Robinson is out. Pacome Dadier is out for... Why does that look so weird, that O on that screen? That looks really weird. Apologies for that. That shouldn't look like that, but it does. Don't know why that happened. Anyway, Pacome Dadier is out. Josh Hart is officially questionable, and Ariel Hukporti is questionable. Now, last game, Josh Hart was questionable. Heading into the game, played 40 minutes in a game they won by 23 points, and didn't come out at all in the second half until there was 3 minutes left in the game. All right, that is actually insane. It's ridiculous, and I'm sure it will be totally fine, and there'll be nothing wrong with any of this stuff as we move forward. Absolutely be all good. No problems. What are we watching for on the Grizzlies? To me, it's Jalen Wells. Not that I think that he's any more than like a Duncan Robinson level stream guy, but is he a 28-minute player, a 22-minute player? Can we get some consistency in that? I'm not sure. On the Knicks, it is Josh Hart, and he's been unbelievably good this season. He is shooting so far above anything I could have expected. His free throws are up. His 2-point percentage is through the roof. He is playing 1 million minutes. His rebounds are so high. He's been awesome, unbelievable. One of the probably almost the best pick of all draft season. I didn't see it coming at all. He's been ridiculously good. Let's see and hope that need is not a problem. In terms of stream guys, it is Luke Kennard and Precious Achiuwa, but man, what do we care about if Precious Achiuwa is a stream? Like, not really anything to care about there at all, honestly. He is just your mate, and Tom Thibodeau, we'll see what they do. Nothing. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, and with Super Bowl 59 almost here, there are endless possibilities on FanDuel. You can make every play more exciting with FanDuel. You can predict the first touchdown. You can make a bet on the MVP. The coin toss. You could do individual player props and game totals and spreads and money lines. So all of your bets and your live in-game betting can happen all the way through, right up until the final whistle. That's what the live betting feature allows you to do. So no matter what is happening on the field, you are involved. And if you place a $5 bet, you can potentially win $200 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you score $200 in bonus bets. That is FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, an official partner of Super Bowl 59. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. All right, let's get into the next game here. That is 4 down, 8 to go. The Rockets and the Celtics is the next one we're up to in Boston. Huge game. This one, it is the Celtics 6.5 point favorites. The Rockets are in a schedule plus spot, and the Celtics are in a schedule minus spot. Jabari Smith is out. Cam Whitmore, questionable. Whitmore played only 10 minutes in the last game and had to leave early. And then the Celtics, which they didn't have before, they've added a couple of guys on the injury report. Al Horford, questionable with toe. And Derek White, questionable with a shin contusion. Now, White had been playing poorly and stepped it up last game. But obviously, if those guys are out, other opportunities do arise. The Rockets, by the way, 5 games in week 16. On the Rockets, Tari Eason being dropped in some spots. I don't agree with that. But it is going to be interesting to watch. Is he going to be 21 or 22 minutes? Is he 26 or 27? There's a big difference. And I hope it's not the leg that caused the minutes to pull back. For the Celtics, Peyton Pritchard, for about 4 or 5 weeks now, has been pretty poor. There's the occasional good game in there, but he's get like 26 minutes and he scores like single-digit points. The elite shooting is down, the usage is down. If Derek White is out, I do expect that it jumps up a little bit here for Pritchard, but his value has not been of a 12-team league guy recently. In terms of stream guys, Horford would be the guy. If he is out, though, you look at Cornette in that position. And then for the Rockets, Dylan Brooks just never rostered, and he is worth looking at. Of course, it can blow up at any point. Kings Nets. That's the next one. It is the Jordi Fernandez Bowl in Brooklyn. Both of these teams are in schedule minus positions. Bojan Bogdanovic is out. Cam Thomas is out. Maxwell Lewis is out. Cam Johnson is out. Ben Simmons is questionable after missing last game with a back issue. I thought that would actually put him out for a bit of time. It still might, but he is questionable here. And then Trenton Watford is questionable as well. Actually, no, I think he might have been ruled out. So Watford, let me double check that. Yeah, Watford is out again. Not sure when he's coming back. It's been a disaster hamstring season for Trendon. On the Kings, I want to watch DeMar DeRozan because he's sort of settling into a role with his scoring, but his assists are gone. He gets like 2 or 3 a game now instead of 5 or 6. That's one. I'd say that's the biggest thing that Doug Christie has done. Pace is up a little bit, but it's Monk and Fox that get all the assists now. DeRozan doesn't do any of it, and that obviously impacts his value. In terms of the Nets, I'd like to see Nick Claxton try to do something that's not hitting someone in the head. Can you block a shot? Can you put effort in? Can you finish around the rim? Can you hit free throws? He is not looking like a 12-team league guy. In terms of stream guys, Keon Ellis is always that guy, but that's who he is. And they've got a schedule negative spot coming up here, schedule minus. He plays 20 minutes a night. That is not enough. He is stashable if you've got the ability to do that, waiting for an injury. On the Nets, Noah Clowney, he, like I detailed on the waiver wire show earlier today, he's averaging 1.3 steals and blocks over his last 4 games. He's just hitting 33% of his shots, which is clearly horrific. If we can just put solid shooting with those defensive stats together, we'd have a really good option. We're just not getting it at the moment, aren't we? And that's clearly a problem. The Pelicans and the Raptors in Toronto. Some interesting injury stuff in this one. It's a scheduled minus spot for both teams. Ingram and Herb Jones are out. I thought we'd get an absence here for DeJounte Murray. But no, he is questionable with his finger sprain. We'll see whether he plays and whether it's a garbage report or not. I don't know. But I didn't expect to see him available here. Ochai Agbaji, Kelly Olynyk, and Jakob Poeltl, all questionable for the Raptors. Now, obviously, if Poeltl and Olynyk are out, well, then you are firing up Chris Boucher, who was great in the last game and got extra minutes with Olynyk out, but it was largely Olynyk and Agbaji because they also gave Orlando Robinson big minutes. He got 18 minutes or so, and he plays for this team. And if we got into a situation where Olynyk and Poeltl were out, as well as Agbaji, then Boucher and Robinson would actually be marginally interesting to look at. On the Raptors, on the Pelicans, Jordan Hawkins played a lot of minutes recently, been a top 100 guy over the last week. He is a points and threes guy, needs to shoot really well, and did get some steals in the last one. We're continuing to watch how they use him, and they could continue to hold BJ Boston out to keep his games under 50, and that means more for Hawkins to do. In terms of stream guys, it was really, really bad for Yves Missi last game, and that has been the problem all along. Him playing with Zion, bad fit, terrible fit, hate the fit, and we saw them just cut the minutes way back. Is that what they do again? I think he's useful, streamable, but that level of upside just doesn't exist when Zion plays, I don't think. And then it is Dick in Toronto. Like, we stream Grady with these guys out. He might be bad. Very, very obviously might be bad. He's been bad in many games. But I still think he is the option that we want to go to in this particular scenario. The Hawks, the Wolves, we're in Minnesota. For this game, it is a Schedule Plus spot for Atlanta. And then in terms of injuries, Zach Ricochet, I believe, is going to be out. I don't know if that's officially been updated yet. It has not. But I think Ricochet will be out. Jalen Johnson will be out. One thing we don't know about is DeAndre Hunter, who missed the last game with foot soreness. And the Hawks are coming into a back-to-back here. So just don't be shocked if he sits. Just keep an eye on that. And Clint Capella sat one of their last two in the back-to-back as well. Also watch that. On the Wolves side, Terrence Shannon and Dante DiVincenzo are going to be out. Larry Nance started last game in place of Hunter, but that was with Ricochet and Hunter out. Sorry, not in place of Hunter, in place of Johnson. If Hunter's available, does he start? Do they go back to Nance? Is Nance useful? It's hard to say. But if he is a starter, he's at least intriguing enough to take a grab at. And then on the Wolves, Mike Conley's providing nice assists. He probably needs a 28-minute role consistently to feel good as a 12-team league player, but he can get that. Vic Krejci looks to me to be the better option to stream over Larry Nance. That's what I would do, but they can both potentially, especially with a Schedule Plus spot coming up here for the Hawks, both Nance and Krejci have a little bit of appeal. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker is probably the Wolves guy, but you're obviously not super interested in that one as any sort of great play long term. Next up, we go to Chicago. The Denver Nuggets travel, take on the Chicago Bulls in Chicago, like I just said. Denver 7.5-point favorites, schedule minus spot for the Bulls. Chancha is out, Kobe White is out, and Torrey Craig is out for Chicago. No revenge game there. In terms of what we're watching, Aaron Gordon put probably his best game in a few weeks together in the last game. That's solid enough. Is he worth rostering? I don't think so, but we continue to watch that, and I continue to watch the downturn of Ayo Dosunmu. Is it his calf that's causing the problem? Because instead of playing, like we've seen situations where a starter's out and Ayo comes in, plays 36 minutes. He plays like 24 now. Is it his calf? Is it Lonzo Ball's increased minutes? Is it a change in opinion from Billy Donovan? I don't know. But obviously, we need to watch that because 23 minutes of Ayo Dosunmu, 25 minutes of Ayo Dosunmu, 26 minutes of Ayo Dosunmu, it's not even close to a 12-team league player. In terms of other stream guys, if you're looking for blocks, you know that Peyton Watson can get 3 of them in 18 minutes. He literally did it last game. And then Lonzo Ball is nice across the board stuff, but it's probably in not a points league or a category league is an easier way to say that. And even in a category league, you're probably looking to punt points in that scenario. Or your team is a punt points team. Or your team's got so many points that it doesn't matter that he might score 6. The Wizards and the Mavs. It just started raining here all of a sudden. The weather forecast is supposed to be 40 degrees, which, if you don't know what 40 degrees is, it's about 105, maybe? It's around that. And now, out of nowhere, it's just raining. Okay, cool. That makes sense. Anyway, Wizards, Mavs. Schedule minor spot for the Mavs. They're also 12-point favorites here. Brogdon's going to be out. Bagley's going to be out. Lively's out. Maxi Kleber broke his foot. That's regular season over for him, I'm guessing. Luka Doncic out, Dante Exum out, and then Najee Marshall and Dwight Powell both questionable. So the Mavs, obviously, really, really banged up. Last game, Kyle Kuzma decided he was going to change what he was doing. So the quotes they're actually horrific to read. And by horrific, I mean, of course they're not horrific, but it's like him saying, yeah, I'm done trying to fit in and pay attention to what this team's trying to do and their future. I'm just going to do what I want, which is like, are you actually an idiot? What are you talking about? Why would you say this out loud? I'm done trying to fit in. Cool. You sound like a great teammate. Why would he say that? Maybe I missed complete context in those quotes, but we saw that his usage was down and he was terrible and he was disengaged and he wasn't shooting and he just said, all right, I'm chucking everything. Chucking everything Kyle Kuzma actually has fantasy value. It's bad for anyone's real-life eyes, but it has fantasy value, so let's see what happens. I'm very, very convinced that we don't need Klay Thompson. He's done. But we keep watching. Do the minutes push back up? Does he go on a hot streak? Almost definitely not, but we watch it always. And then last game, the Wizards benched Bub Carrington and started Keyshawn George. I don't think we need to roster Bub in 12s. I don't think we need to roster George in 12s, but at least streamable value for both those guys. And then Dinwiddie is the guy that I would stream for the Mavs over Marshall and over Quentin Grimes. But he can also have like a 9, and yes, I meant 9% shooting night. He can do it. We've seen him do it so many times. The next game, we're talking Milwaukee Bucks, Utah Jazzmen. This is, not great. It's a scheduled plus spot for Utah, but it's also heading into a back-to-back. The Bucks are also heading into a back-to-back, and they're 8.5-point favorites. We have seen a lot of the time that the Bucks have sat Chris Middleton on the first game of the back-to-back, which would be this one, against a terrible opponent. So keep an eye on Middleton not playing here. Bobby Portis missed the last game for personal reasons. I've got him questionable. And then Big Boom AJ Green's been out for about a week, which all that stuff could lead to big Taurean Prince and big Gary Trent performances. The Jazz is where I just say, I don't know. Jordan Clarkson and Johnny Juzang are going to be out. I'm very certain Cody Williams and his ankle sprain is going to be out. But as for everybody else, I don't know. John Collins went from hip to personal to hip to back to ill. What? So now what do we do? And it's a back-to-back. So does Markkanen play both? Sexton play both? Collins play both? Play neither? I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you what they're expected to do. And last game, the Jazz decided, right, we're benching Keontae George. We're starting Isaiah Collier. That's weird. Bryce Sensabaugh played 6 minutes. So what the hell does any of that mean? On the Bucks, what we're watching for is Gary Trent, who's had really good games. And there could be another opportunity here with no Middleton and no Green and no Portis, meaning he has to take every shot in the second unit. And that could be useful. Now, he could, like Spencer Dinwiddie, shoot 9%. But he could hit 5 threes and have 2 steals. And then Sensabaugh. Are they actually playing him 6 minutes? Are they actually preferring Svi Mykhailiuk? Who the hell's even going to be available here? In terms of stream guys, Prince and Collier, I just think Collier needs to be rostered in 12-team leagues. And I wouldn't drop Keontae George either. But there's a lot of nonsense that's still going to happen on this squad. The final game of the day. Clippers, Suns. In Phoenix, we're talking schedule minus for the Clippers. They are 1-point favorites as well. Cam Christie is questionable, as is Chris Dunn. And Ryan Dunn sprained his ankle for the Suns last game. I'll say that he's doubtful. I don't really think that he's going to play here. Last game, we saw some limited minutes for Ivica Zubac. Is that what's going to happen? Is he going to go back to 35 a night? Are they worried they're going to keep him a little bit lower? We monitor it. We watch it. And then on the Suns, we got a gigantic Bradley Beal game. Would he play like 38 minutes with Dunn out? Does he start, or do they start O'Neal, or do they start Allen? Are they just going to refuse to start Bradley Beal? Much like Mike Budenholzer's refused to talk to Yusuf Nurkic for 2 months, apparently. So, yeah, Nurk's not playing on this team. In terms of streaming guys, Derek Jones has been pretty good outside of the last game, but not anything more than a stream guy. And then it could be Grayson Allen also that starts if Ryan Dunn is out. And that's something we monitor, and he would be, marginally useful as a streaming option there. Let's look at the schedule. Let's take a look at a few little things that are just important here for us. And we'll start with the 5 teams that have back-to-backs Monday and Tuesday. Remembering, Monday's got 12 games, so your ability to stream, it's limited if it exists at all. We just talked about a couple of those teams, but the Hawks have the back-to-back, the Rockets have the back-to-back, the Lakers have a back-to-back, the Bucks and the Jazz both play Monday and on Tuesday. And the last thing we're going to look at is chunks, the next 5 days. Now, when we're talking chunks, I use any day that's over 11 games is probably not a usable game in terms of the streaming value of that. But that's Monday. Then we got low on Tuesday, 11 on Wednesday, low on Thursday, low on Friday. So which teams and players are available to give us some value over the next 5 days to stream? But the thing is, there's not that many. There's only 2 teams that have 3 streamable days, and even one of those is iffy because it's the Wednesday, over those next 5 days. It's the Sixers and it's the Warriors. So, Post, Pajemski, Hield, Schroeder, Jackson Davis, all these guys are streamable. Then Yabusele, Justin Edwards, Kelly Oubre, who should be rostered anyway, Andre Drummond maybe. With those guys, 3 games of streamable value, but it does include the Wednesday. But that's it. It's a very sort of weird portion of the schedule here. We're not going to do 5s and 2s because we've already done the weekly preview yesterday to see what happens here in week 15. But what we are going to do is we're going to end it. Not everything, just the show on National Bubble Wrap Day. So go ahead and thumb and bookmark the live trade deadline show. But also let's just recognize something good that someone in our life did. Just give them a thanks. Hey, thanks for that. That's it. Simple. Don't make a big deal of it. So grateful that you did. Just something small. Thanks, mate. Legend. Easy. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.